A2IM Indie Week 2021, presented by Sound Exchange.
Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney, and welcome to Have You Met Bema? This is a really exciting panel. I'm so pleased to be here at Indie Week. I was at the beginning of the Bema program, and I'm super excited to still be involved. I was at A2IM until a few months ago, and now I am at PEX, but still a part of the Indie community and still with a pretty involved role in Bema. So before we get started, I would love to have A2IM and Erin introduce themselves. Erin, you can go first.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Knight. I'm the president of Build Your Own Dreams, and we are a label and a creative marketing firm. I also am an artist manager, which is where I got my start and how I leveled up to this level. And I also own a booking agency, so I deal with artists all around.
Alien.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is A2IM Jump. I'm the founder and owner of Spaced Out Studios Entertainment. And similar to Erin, my company deals with artist services. We're also a record label and a publishing company.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So Bema is a lot of things, but it was started as a way to increase equity in the independent music industry. We started Bema because we noticed that there were a few barriers to entry when it came to Black-owned businesses as part of the A2IM community. So we, first of all, wanted to make sure that we were able to hop over the first barrier, which is the dues. So we went out and got a lot of sponsors. Bema is supported by 19 A2IM member companies who made generous sponsorships to make sure that we could provide dues for 31 different Black-owned independent music businesses. The second barrier to entry was just, we noticed that there just weren't enough Black-owned businesses. So, it's really difficult for, a Black-owned business owner to get involved in an industry that they don't see themselves in. So those were the two main barriers that we really wanted to hop over with Bema. And we think that we are on the right track. As I mentioned, it's a grant style. So we had over 300 applications to Bema. And of those 300, as I mentioned, we picked 31. So the 31 companies were really, really impressive. And we're really excited to feature a few of them in this panel. If you are watching other Indie Week panels, you'll see the Bema Fellows throughout. So make sure you check those out. So I guess I would love to get started with, a really the base question, why did you guys apply for Bema? So Erin, I'll let you go first.
So I would say it was heavily influenced by my peers and my community. So many people were like, you need to apply for Bema, you need to apply for Bema. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I just started a label. I'm really busy. I can't add any more to my workload. And they were like, no, it's through A2IM, which I had recently gotten familiar with. And so it was definitely peer pressure, but then I looked into it and we were only, I think, 2 months old at the time that we were supposed to apply. So I just didn't apply. And then my distributor came back and Vidya, who we're distributed through, they're one of the companies that is helping fund the program. And they were like, you need to apply. We'll reach out and see if it's okay. But you guys have a lot going on. I think you would benefit from this. And same, I have 2 artists at Reach Records that I manage. Reach Records is like, you need to apply. So I was like, okay, guys. So we literally applied the last day and, sent everything in. And yeah, we got in. So I think, peer pressure. After I applied, I looked into what the program was and I'm like, oh, this would be so cool to get in. But I had no clue at first, to be honest. It was just everybody who matters to me was like, you need to apply. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And see, that's awesome.
So BIMA is how you found out about A2IM.
No, so I knew about A2IM because of the mentorship program. I have a few friends who are mentored through it, but I had never really dove into. I just thought A2IM was just mentorship. So it was a lot of A2IM members telling me to apply for BIMA, and then some of the sponsors of the program telling me to apply. So yeah, but I had never heard of BIMA before. They were like, "You need to apply to this thing," and I was like, "Okay."
Got it. William?
Well, see, for me, it was, I think I received a mailer or notification on one of the music blogs that I frequent. And it was just like, wow, this seems so interesting. Let me go check it out. So I read it. I thought about it for about a day or so. Then I was like, well, you know what, give it a shot. So I filled out the application and got down to some parts where I think they were asking, what are you looking to get out of this? And, I really just kind of sat there and deeply thought about what I really wanted out of it, and boom, filled it out, and was surprised when you gave me a call and said that we got accepted. So that's how I found out about it.
I mean, we're obviously so stoked that you guys both applied. So when you're going through your application process, like, were you thinking about challenges that you faced and how like a program like BIMA might be able to help with those challenges?
Yeah, I would say so.
What were some of those challenges?
Well, the challenges I think that we still face a little bit is one, like you said, representation. Two, I would say, even though I'm close to Philly, where a lot of music happens there, it's almost like, especially during COVID, when you're starting out, who do you reach out to? You know what I mean? And then you might be afraid to reach out to some people because you don't want to put them off or put too much pressure on them. But just being able to, have resources that you can get in touch with and ask specific questions, or even learn more about, how to approach certain things in the industry, is just super beneficial.
Yeah, I would say for me, same thing. I was new to the label game, and we are doing something different at our label where our artists own all the masters. So we're kind of making it up as we go. And I think that for me and my business partner, Brandon, we were very in need of somebody to help us. So when we got distribution, they were super helpful. We do have a few people that we can reach out to in the music business, but nobody who's doing what we're doing. So we needed somebody who was like, we may not know, but here's some resources. And so I think even just the resource, the community of new Black businesses in music, even just being able to like reach out, I think is something that is really helpful to me in my head, because it's like, oh, okay, I may not have a question right now, but I know where to go if I do have a question. And then I think sometimes I just never know what to ask. I'm so used to figuring it out on my own. And as soon as we started, there was an introduction with all the BIMA people, and like off rip, A2IM was like, okay, so what questions do you have? I'm like, oh, wait, y'all are really gonna help us like navigate this thing. It's not just like a place to be like, we help Black entrepreneurs, Yeah. And so I was really impressed with that and really excited. So I think even just the network for me is something that is extremely comforting. And then I'm very much like, I don't know, like intuitive, and I want to move a lot more with personal relationships than just like cold reach outs. So for me, I think it's like, yeah, it's just been great. I feel like I'm just now getting into the networking aspect, but it's been great to know that I have a network of people who genuinely care, and then other upstart entrepreneurs who are like, yeah, I'm in this with you. We're figuring it out together. So it's been great in that aspect, the thought process also.
Yes, the community is key. Like,
Absolutely.
And that's basically what, like, forming a community is like what A2IM was kind of formed to do. So glad that like at the jump of BIMA, you kind of got that benefit like automatically. Like, that's awesome. So we're kind of like moving off of that. So we already talked about how just the act of having a community is really helpful as like a Black-owned business. But what else has, like, how has being a BIMA fellow helped your business since the program started back in March? And I'll let you go first on this one, Aline.
Oh, wow. Well, I would say specifically the mentorship portion of this, as well as the community, but definitely the mentorship. I was a little bit surprised at who I got as a mentor because I did request a specific kind, but he's been excellent. And I don't know if we could actually say who it is, so I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah, I think you can.
Okay, well, it's Craig Balsam, and hopefully I pronounced his last name correct. But Craig is amazing. You know, one of the things with this is it's almost like now that I have this sort of access, it's almost kind of overwhelming to the point you're like, well, what do I ask? What do you know? Who should I talk to? Should I just talk to Craig about anything? But it's just been such a welcoming and positive experience, but definitely just having someone with more experience. And as he'll say, he doesn't know if he really has experience, but definitely does. But being able to just say, you know, hey, Craig, I'm working on this, you know, can you give me your thoughts on it? Not even looking for anything, you know, like we've had conversations about various things, family, music industry, et cetera. And saying something to him that might trigger in him, oh, you know what, maybe I'll put you in touch with this person. Even if nothing comes from it, just the thought and having that support network there and that mentor to bounce ideas off of has been amazing. And, you know, I think really it's been 2, maybe 3 months now since we've really, you know, moved on that. But absolutely being able to talk to someone, you know, within the industry that has extensive experience, in my opinion, it has been great.
Awesome. Erin, how has your experience with the mentorship program been?
I love it. I think that I was paired so phenomenally. I'm with Jen at InGrooves. So I requested somebody who's in Atlanta. That didn't happen, but she's in Nashville, which is like my second home. It's very close. And so she's also another like feeler and like moves intuitively with business. So for me, I was very much interested in like developing a relationship with somebody who cares about like a holistic like balance with life, like being able to experience life but also do well in business. And I feel like we have so many just great conversations about like focus and understanding our needs. And as a woman to another woman, I just feel very comforted to see how she's moved up, how she's done things on her own, how she left InGrooves because they weren't necessarily ready for her to move. And then when she moved, she built her own thing, and then they moved and they hired her back at a higher position. So I don't know, it's just like so many dope things that I've already learned from her. We meet every other week and we've been religious about it. So I'm just like very excited. The mentorship, I've never had a mentor before. So this has been, you know, a great first step. I feel like everybody who comes after this, good luck, because Jen is incredible. And just the setup of this was just really done well. Like I think my needs were very well listened to. And so I'm super grateful for the way that A2IM decided to construct this.
Yes, the mentorship program, the people who oversee that spend hours, days, like going through that pairing process. So I'm sure if any of them are watching, they're really pleased with that feedback. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th cycle of the mentorship program, and it's getting better and better and better. And so if you haven't ever participated in the mentorship program, definitely apply for the next one. It's great. So there are a few other things that, you know, like specific programs, but besides the mentorship program that BIMA has put in place. You guys have participated in a few workshops since the program started. So can you talk a bit about those and like what you've been able to get out of just having like that kind of small, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just very like a boutique kind of small group setting to have some workshops with some key partners? Erin, you can go first.
Sure. Yeah. So the Spotify one was super tight because it was like, oh, okay, this is Spotify's internal team telling us best practices, you know? So like you can read a ton on the internet, you can talk to people, but this is their actual team like, hey, these are some new functions we're rolling out. Here's some things that you can do. And I feel like that type of FaceTime is always super duper beneficial. And then even letting me know about features that I didn't even know were there. I feel like I spent a ton of time studying Spotify, using their resources, whatever, and it was still like very illuminating. So I'm naturally a learner and I get really excited about new information. So yeah, I think that was dope. I unfortunately couldn't get onto the Apple Music when I was having technical difficulties. I think a lot of us were, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to the more that are offered, because it's I don't know, there's nothing better than educating yourself, but especially in your area of interest, and then especially when it comes to like, okay, this is only the other Bema fellows. So we're just all in there together. And then that leads us to being able to have conversations after, like, yo, did you know about this? So I think the structure is genius, and I love it so far.
Yeah. Anything to add there? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You were talking and then I talked. Go ahead, Aleem.
No, I was saying I agree with everything that Erin says. One of the things with it was that, as Erin said, researching this information by yourself, and even though Spotify does a great job of, having their, I think it's like a monthly class or information they put up in newsletters, it's great, but you still feel like it's geared towards more like the independent artist. But being able to have that masterclass presented to us, and it tailored more to us as companies, it was just, even though I knew a lot of the information, there were still bits of things that I could take out of and say, you know what, we could be doing this better, or you know what, that's a better way to do this than we were proceeding before. Because it's a huge thing that I have, personally and professionally, have an issue with as far as the independent scene goes, is that right now, and I understand that the artists have a lot of control or are taking back more control. But a lot of the things that are out there are geared a little bit too much, I believe, towards the artist, when the artist still needs resources. Like, my company is similar in functionality towards Erin's, and where the artists own their masters and we just sort of license them and help them better manipulate those resources. But when you're out there as a company trying to, do these things for them as well as for yourself, everything that we're coming across is artist-based and not so much industry and company-based. So the independent label resources and being able to see this and, oh, you're doing this, but you might want to try doing this instead. Or I know you have access to this, but did you know if you did it this way, it might turn out a little bit better for you, is amazing. And for instance, I think it's Marquee. We haven't used it yet, but I remember reading like Marquee's available to, independent labels and independent musicians. And I'm sitting here looking through all my guys' dashboards and there's nothing, So I had to, once we had that interaction, they said, oh, by the way, if you don't see it, reach out, is wonderful, because I would have sat here trying to figure out and reaching out, but not reaching out to the correct people. And waiting for a response. So this is absolutely perfect. And I can't recall the gentleman's name, so I apologize, but I believe his first name is Jeff from the Spotify team. I shot him a message in Slack and boom, he got back to me and directed me to the correct person who might be able to address my issue, which is wonderful. And this is something that, I figured maybe for us in another 2 years, we would have sort of access like this, but having it now is absolutely the best.
Amazing. Great. I'm just like getting so many good feels right now. So that's awesome. So let's see. So we've got the workshop and the workshops and mentorship program. One other thing that we've done so far, and I'm not sure if there has been any since I moved on to PEX, but we did some office hours with our advisory council. So I know that was something that was the first time we did it, when I was there. So I would love to know, so you have access to like some key partners and mentors, but there's like this third level of the advisory council of Bema, which is made up of 7 different people from throughout the industry. And we were trying to make sure that the Bema fellows have access to them as well. So could you talk a bit about that experience and just being able to rapid fire, ask some questions from someone who's, could be in a mentorship, position, but it's kind of like mentoring the whole class. Erin, you go first.
Yeah, personally, I loved that because it was kind of like I could still be in a meeting and then send questions. So I literally had my whole team. I'm like, yo, what do we want to ask? We had Madison. So everybody put together questions and I like asked her, I'm like, hey, do you want me to send you questions one at a time or should I send them all? She was like, send them all. So I sent like 12 questions. 30 minutes later, she sent me back answers to everything. I was like, whoa, this is so dope. So she sent linked some resources. So it was super cool because I think sometimes it's intimidating. I think I was intimidated when I first heard. So I'm like, are we going to be texting them on Slack? What is this going to be like? And then I was like, oh, it's individually we're sending the messages. So I thought it was super dope, very helpful too, because then we copied and pasted all the answers and we have a doc now to look at the resources. So the office hours, that's the only one that I think we've had so far, or at least that I've participated in. And it was super helpful to me, even just her willingness to be yeah, you have a ton of questions. I got you.
Yeah, I think I think you and I spoke offline about this a little bit, but she was just under fire all day. So, we had some communication and some since then, and it's definitely a good experience. I think though structurally, what I would have preferred would maybe be more of an open format one. So where if it's just a general room for that, because it'd be great to go back and see the questions and answers she provided, because maybe there's something that I missed there that may be beneficial to us as well. But definitely a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue into my next question, because obviously, so this is the first round of BIMA. That's why you've never heard of it before, Erin, because it literally did not exist before. So we are, doing our best to come up with a program and some structure that really benefits Black-owned businesses that are trying to be becoming A2IM members. What do you think the A2IM community could do going forward to really help support the mission of BIMA? Whether, they're sponsors or not, how could every single company in A2IM help forward this mission? Aline, you can go first.
Oh, wow, that's a big question. There's so many places I could go with this that I'm probably overwhelmed, but I would say the most important thing for me would be to keep this community going, keep the members engaged, and offer even opportunities. I think we spoke about, and I'm supposed to actually host the first one this week, but have a monthly or weekly meeting. Anyone who can make it, great. If you can't make it, no problem. But to keep this community going, keep it strong, have all the members, interact more often, because, some days we're all so busy, I'll check emails late at night, I'll check messages late at night. I think I responded to a Slack message on a Sunday evening. But just having the community available so that if we ever have any questions, whether we're BIMA fellows in, or excuse me, I'm probably using the incorrect term, but being a BIMA member is it's awesome in itself, but having that community and knowing the community is going to keep going and growing is I think probably the greatest thing that can be done, because we all have seen it before. Companies start these initiatives. They promise this, they donate X amount of dollars. And then once the spotlight on incidences that have made national news die down, they disappear, and unfortunately that seems to have been the track record for a lot of organizations. But I'm truly hopeful that this isn't, what it's going to be.
So what you're saying is you would like every A2IM member to reach out to you and say hello.
Well, that would be great, of course, but no, truly, I was saying, I really just would like it so that the BIMA group, has these resources long past, when we are the initial fellows. Yes. And so that when the next group, class of 2022 comes on board, that, we're not sort of shoved off to the side, that we can say, hey guys, this is how we experience things, and we can probably learn from them going forward, because maybe they have different experiences, business and life, that would be definitely beneficial to someone else in the program. I'm a firm believer in sharing knowledge, so that if I experience something and I know a great way to do it, and someone else comes in and they're having difficulty, I'm willing to share it, even if they're not initially accepting of it. I'm going to let you know, hey, this is what I experienced, this is how I do it, and it works for me. You don't have to do it that way, but here's the knowledge, and you can access it anytime you want.
Yes, I love that. Erin, how about you? The big question.
I think that the A2IM members should be extremely intentional about developing partnerships with Black-owned music businesses and just like incorporating our culture more authentically into what they're doing. There's so many stats that talk about how diversity actually raises your bottom line. So I think just looking to diversify who they're working with. I mean, everybody's partnering with people. That's just how the world works now. And I think that they should make a little bit more effort to partner outside of their typical. And I think even just reaching out and giving a leg up to people. I think that I can applaud Vidya, our distributor right now. They're really fighting hard to incorporate more Black labels and then spotlight us as well. And so they're giving us a lot of opportunities. They're teaching us, they're setting up things with different people. And I think that more companies should be striving towards that. I can't say everybody needs to dethrone their leadership and just edify Black people, but I would say consider your standards and practices. Consider where you're looking for talent. Maybe look at some HBCUs. Like, is there a way that you guys can go in and start a program at a PWI where you have a program that leads to the music industry? Because I know, like, for a lot of Black students, it's unreasonable to intern for free at a music company. And there's like all these giant labels who are like, yeah, come intern for free while you're going through college. And so then you end up with middle class kids who can afford it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Black and brown students who have really a passion for this can't. And then it's a lot of times they're like, well, if you're not in school, you can't intern for us. I didn't finish school and I was always looking for internships. And they were like, well, you're not in school. And I'm like, yo, I can't afford school, And so I had to start my own thing, which is why our company is Build Your Own Dreams, because from top to bottom, I've had to build stuff since I was young, and I just want more companies to be looking for ways to create a pipeline for the future, like hip hop is the biggest industry right now, which means right now the music world, as it has always been, but is extremely influenced by Black culture. So for me, it's disconcerting to walk into a room with a ton of executives who don't look like me and know that they're the decision makers. It's like, hire younger, hungry labels as consultants, or like bring in somebody who has an understanding of what's really going on in the scene and in the community. And let's see about like maybe parlaying that to a bigger success for everybody. Instead of just looking to soak up the best talent and hire them, like let's look at more strategic partnerships. So I would really just encourage any A2IM member to consider what they do as normal, like consider what they consider normal and think about how can we integrate more Black business people, more Black industry people into the flow of things, because I think that creates a more equitable future for all of us. Because now it's like, yeah, like I feel like I have an in with In Grooves because of Jen, and she's like, yo, let me know if you want to do this. Let me know if there's anything strategic. Like I say yes to, I'm the one who gets to okay a lot of the new partnerships. Like, let's talk through these things. And I know that's from a genuine place, but I think just making yourself available and letting people know that you want to help change the future, I think is something that's super important. Instead of being like, well, there's nobody in my network, that's just how it is. Yo, reach out to me. Like if you're watching this and you're an A2IM, reach out to me. Even if my company can't or won't partner with you, I can refer you to a ton more. Like I'm in Atlanta in the midst of like the Black Mecca, as they say, and there's so many burgeoning things. And then, we have the BIMA program. I think there's so many people who have so much value, and they just don't have the major upstream of availability or the network to be able to get in. Like my network just kind of expanded to that. But I think about me even 4 or 5 years ago, I think I could have been a force to be reckoned with if somebody would have got me. But I'm grateful that I'm here now because I can make a different type of difference. So yeah, I would encourage people to really rethink the way that they structure their business and their partnerships.
Wow. Thank you for
Absolutely.
that. Yes. Amazing. So is there anything you guys would like to add, or a question that I didn't ask that you would like to answer before I wrap things up? Okay, if there's not.
Well, no, I mean, I would say personally, what do you see as the future of BIMA?
So a lot of what you said before, Aleem, like we're trying to create not just like this one time program where it's like just a year and then like we go forward. Like I would love to see like a very strong alumni network of BIMA fellows, like years and years and years into the future, until the point where like we don't need it anymore, and then it still goes on because it's just a strong network of individuals who are looking to just continue to like further this cause. Like to me, like if that happens, then all the other things that need to happen will. So we're, thinking of ways to make sure that like the first class is still able to like participate in A2IM like equitably for like the next few years going forward. We have plans on how to get that involved. And really just like not letting it stop. Like we can't just like sit down now that we've like started BIMA. Like we have to just like keep moving forward. And that I think like for me, like that's like what I envisioned like when A2IM was like getting BIMA started, just like this can't just be a one-time thing. Like how can we really change this industry? So yeah, that's my answer to that one. So yeah, I think, if there's anything else that anyone watching wants to know about BIMA, they're literally all super awesome and very friendly and eager to talk. So you can either reach out on Slack, you can shoot them an email if you want to set up a meeting with them through the Indie Week platform. Like you can do that as well. Just like take it upon yourself, like introduce yourself, because this group of 31 companies is like truly like I said, we picked them out of 300, and we truly think that like these are like the next generation or even the current generation of the power players of independent industry. So if you want to learn more about them, you can go to a2im.org/BIMA. All of the fellows are listed there. You can learn more about every company there. You can also learn about the sponsors who made the program possible. Like I said, there are 19 of them, without which we could not have made BIMA happen. So thank you so much to the sponsors and every other company that has reached out to get involved. Truly have made this program like, it's really set a good foundation. Like I don't want to say like we've made it perfect because we haven't, but like we've set a really great foundation to continue to grow off of that. So if any of you want to add anything before we go, I can wrap that up.
Yeah, Courtney, I just want to thank you for your vision and your foresight to create this program and the really lobby for its creation and fruition in the real world. What you're doing and have done is going to echo across the music industry like for centuries. I really believe that, because I know that my company is going to change the world, and I don't say that lightly. And Aleem, I believe the same thing for you, because you're empowering the creatives, and we're just a fraction of a percentage of the amount of people who are going to now pass through this program. And I'm with you. I'm going to double down to make sure that it lasts, because I want to see more Black entrepreneurs in the industry really develop and grow and find their own. It's something that I didn't have. I'm 32 now. now, and I've never had a mentor. I've never had a network like this that I could just lean on. So I'm hoping that there's other young people that can get a hold of this and be a part of it. So I just want to really commend you and thank you, because you're a difference maker. And I know that a lot of times, you know, we work on the back end of stuff. There's no thanks or gratitude. People just see the byproduct and they praise that, but nobody goes to the author to say, you know, like, thank you for creating this story. So I just want to big up you and really express my gratitude for all that you've done and what you've set in place to continue the motion of the future of music.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I can just jump on that and say thank you as well, because it really is great to have someone champion your cause. You know, when I started this, I think we're totally really professionally 3 years into this. I had no indication I would even get to this point. And to have someone behind the scenes, as they say, give them their flowers now, who's actually trying to support not only Black causes, but Black causes within music, which I've been passionate about since I probably could walk, is just amazing. You know, and even if I hadn't become a member of this program, or rather a fellow of the program, just still being able to see that, you know what, there are people and organizations taking this seriously, has been wonderful. And, you know, I'm sure Erin and yourself could attest to this. You've seen, like I said before, these organizations make promises. I don't want to name any of them, but you've seen them make these promises. You've seen them commit to money to funding and initiatives. And then a year later, there's nothing, you know, and I can't recall, it might have been not Billboard, but another trade publication that I was reading a few weeks ago, and they were following up on some of these to say, all right, this company, you know, said after George Floyd passed, that they were going to donate this, they were going to start these initiatives, and a year later, it's quiet. You know, 6 months later, it's quiet. So it's very disheartening to be one, you know, a Black man and see something like that happen, and then hear about all the changes that are going to occur. And then you see today, on the anniversary of his murder, that nothing's really changed. You know, you have small things, and you know, they say the wheels of justice and righteousness turn slowly, but you know, I think we're way past that point in America, in a world where things should turn and move slowly. There's enough people who care and made their voices known last year and the years before, that a lot of things need to change, and they need to change much faster. So thank you, and I appreciate it personally.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you both for joining me. Thank you both for attending Indie Week. I hope that everything that you guys get from this program is everything that you needed and more. And like I said, if anyone wants to learn more about BIMA, visit a2im.org/BIMA, or just email one of the BIMA fellows, because I'm sure they can talk to you all about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Indie Week.